aboard this ship, we went from the Philippines to, we did some practice landings, let the guys get used to running off helicopters, get acclimatized to the hot, humid weather, which they had in Vietnam. So we did about a week's worth of, maybe 2 weeks worth of practice in the Philippines, and then all of us, the squadron and the battalion, headed for Vietnam. And the battalion, once they kicked off, they'd spend their next 13 months in Vietnam, and we would more or less get off the ship after a short time and do the same thing. So anyway, while I was aboard the ship there, and as I said, I've told this story a few times, it's not a great one as far as telling high school kids, but I met one of the guys I went to basic school, the 6-month school that I went to after college. A guy named Glenn Innsbrucker, I still remember the name, I still remember him very well. And he had an infantry platoon. He was a platoon commander, first lieutenant, he had 40 guys, 45 guys under him. And I met him a few times aboard the ship. Of course, I was in one unit and he was in the next, but we met at what they call the officers' mess on the ship where we would eat together. And we got off the coast of Vietnam. We had this operation plan. The helicopter flew the whole 1,200 guys in. Well, we didn't fly them all in. Some of them went in by small boats. But the whole 1,200-man battalion landed right around the DMZ in Vietnam. And the first night ashore, my friend Glenn Innsbrucker was killed. He spent one night in Vietnam, and we medevaced him back out. Or when I say we, my unit did. And who knows, I may have been one involved. But he was killed the first night in country. This friend of mine who I spent 6 months in school with, had one night in country. So I'll sometimes tell that story. His name is one of the names on the wall, of course. In fact, I was telling someone the other day, there were about 26 names on that wall of guys that I served with. Various units, about 4 of them were in that basic school class. Half dozen others were in flight school with me, and the guys had run to in other places. But that brought the war home very quickly for me. It was my first day. We were on the ship. Those guys were ashore, so we spent about a week there in this operation. They were trying to make contact with the enemy and basically destroy the enemy, I guess. But the first night ashore, as I said, this friend of mine, Glenn Innsbrucker, who's actually a Californian, I think he's from somewhere in Southern California, was, in fact, I looked him up on the internet after telling the story once, and I recall he's somewhere from Southern California. But one night in country, and of course, one night, I recognized that, hey, this thing is serious. So that was my introduction to Vietnam.
Okay.
Not many people have one, a story like that.